Breaking barriers, building dreams, lessons from a trailblazing black woman in construction. Welcome. Dreamers, doers, and disruptors. Today, we're diving headfirst into a story that's going to shake the foundations of what you thought you knew about perseverance, faith, and shattering glass ceilings. Buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey through the extraordinary life and insights of Ingrid Boney, a force of nature who's been redefining what it means to be a leader in the male-dominated world of construction. Now, before we dive in, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a field where seeing a woman, let alone a woman of color, in a position of power is about as common as finding a unicorn sipping tea in your backyard. That's the world Ingrid stepped into, armed with nothing but her dreams and a resolve as unshakable as the skyscrapers she would come to build. Ingrid Boney isn't just a success story. She's a revolution in a hard hat. Her journey from being an outsider in the construction industry to becoming a beacon of hope and change is nothing short of epic. She's not just building structures. She's constructing a legacy that's reshaping the very landscape of what's possible for women and minorities in business. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Ingrid, and let me tell you, it was like trying to drink from a fire hose of wisdom, wit, and unapologetic authenticity. Her insights aren't just valuable, they're transformative. They have the power to not only change careers, but to alter the very fabric of how we approach challenges in life. So why should you care about Ingrid's story? Well, unless you're perfectly content with the status quo, unless you've never faced a challenge that seemed insurmountable, unless you've never dreamed of making a dent in the universe, this talk is for you. Ingrid's journey is a masterclass in resilience, a PhD in perseverance, and a black belt in breaking barriers. Now let's dive into the heart of Ingrid's philosophy, the three pillars that have not only sustained her, but propelled her to heights that once seemed unreachable. These aren't just catchy phrases, they're battle-tested strategies that have the power to revolutionize your approach to life and business. First up, never, ever give up. Sounds simple, right? But when Ingrid says it, it carries the weight of 1,000 battles fought and won. This isn't your garden variety motivational poster slogan. This is a war cry, a mantra that's been forged in the fires of adversity. Ingrid shared a story that would make even the toughest among us wince. Picture this. It's early in her career, and she's facing a project that seems determined to break her. Equipment failures left and right, weather that seems to have a personal vendetta against progress, and a team that looks at her like she's speaking in tongues. It's the kind of perfect storm that would send most people running for the hills, maybe to take up a nice, safe hobby like extreme ironing. But Ingrid, she stood her ground. She told me with a glint in her eye that could cut through steel. There were days when I wanted to curl up in a ball and disappear, but then I'd remember why I started this journey. I'd think of all the young girls who needed to see someone like them succeeding in this field, and I'd get back up, dust off my hard hat, and get back to work. This, my friends, is the essence of never give up. It's not about never feeling defeated. It's about feeling the weight of defeat and choosing to stand up anyway. It's about having a purpose bigger than your pain, a vision that outshines your darkest moments. But Ingrid's resilience isn't just about gritting her teeth and pushing through. It's about finding creative solutions, about turning obstacles into opportunities. She shared how during that hellish project, she started looking at the challenges not as roadblocks, but as chances to innovate. When the weather wouldn't cooperate, she didn't just wait it out. She revolutionized the project's timeline, reorganizing tasks in a way that maximized productivity during the good weather and minimized losses during the bad. When equipment failed, she didn't just order replacements. She initiated a complete overhaul of their maintenance procedures, turning a short-term crisis into a long-term improvement in efficiency. And that team that looked at her like she was speaking Klingon, she didn't just try to force her way through their skepticism. She took the time to understand their reservations, to learn from their experience, and to blend her fresh perspective with their seasoned knowledge. By the end of the project, that same team was ready to follow her into battle. This approach to never giving up isn't just about blind persistence. It's about adaptive resilience. It's about being like water flowing around obstacles, finding new paths, and ultimately wearing down even the toughest barriers. Now let's talk about Ingrid's second pillar. Pray hard. Before you roll your eyes thinking this is going to turn into a sermon, let me assure you, Ingrid's approach to prayer is as practical as a well-oiled bulldozer. For Ingrid, prayer isn't just about asking for divine intervention. It's a form of mental and emotional preparation. It's about finding inner peace in the chaos of a construction site. It's about connecting with something larger than yourself, whether that's God, the universe, or the collective spirit of all the badass women who came before her. She shared a particularly poignant moment when a crucial contract was hanging by a thread. The client was wavering, and the competition was circling like vultures. Ingrid didn't just sit back and hope for the best. No, she prayed. But here's the kicker. Her prayer wasn't just, please give me this contract. It was, give me the strength to handle whatever outcome comes my way. And if this isn't the right path, show me the one that is. That's the kind of prayer that doesn't just ask for handouts, it builds resilience. It's the spiritual equivalent of doing squats for your soul. And guess what? Ingrid didn't get that contract, but the strength she found through that prayer led her to an even bigger opportunity down the line. This approach to prayer or meditation or whatever you want to call it is about centering yourself. It's about finding clarity in chaos, peace in turmoil. It's about building an internal foundation as strong as any skyscraper Ingrid has ever constructed. Ingrid's practice of praying hard isn't just about the big moments, the crisis points. It's a daily discipline. She starts each morning with a moment of reflection, setting her intentions for the day. She ends each day with gratitude, acknowledging the lessons learned, the progress made, and yes, even the setbacks encountered. This routine isn't just feel-good fluff. It's a powerful tool for maintaining perspective, for keeping the bigger picture in focus when the day-to-day challenges threaten to overwhelm. It's about cultivating a mindset that sees opportunities in obstacles, lessons in failures. Ingrid shared how this practice has not only helped her personally, but has transformed her leadership style. By maintaining her own inner calm, she's able to be a steady presence for her team, a rock in the storms of high-pressure projects and tight deadlines. She recounted a time when a major project was on the brink of collapse. Tensions were high, fingers were being pointed, and morale was at rock bottom. Instead of adding to the chaos, Ingrid called a timeout. She gathered her team, and instead of a strategy session, she led them in a moment of collective reflection. I asked each person to share one thing they were grateful for about the project, one lesson they had learned, and one hope they had for its completion, she said. It wasn't about ignoring the problems. It was about shifting our perspective, about reconnecting with our purpose. The result, a renewed sense of unity, a fresh wave of creativity and problem solving, and ultimately a successful project completion that had seemed impossible just hours before. This practice of praying hard isn't about passive acceptance. It's about active engagement with your challenges, your goals, and your inner self. It's about building a reservoir of strength and clarity that you can draw from when the going gets tough. And in Ingrid's world, the going is always tough. Now, let's talk about the third pillar of Ingrid's success trifecta. Work hard and practice discipline. If you thought this was going to be all feel-good vibes and positive thinking, think again. Ingrid is living proof that dreams don't work unless you do. She shared a routine that would make most of us want to crawl back into bed and never leave. Up at 4 a.m., reviewing plans before the sun even thinks about rising. On site by 6, troubleshooting problems before most people have had their first cup of coffee. Evenings spent poring over contracts, learning new regulations, and strategizing for future projects. But here's where Ingrid's genius shines through. She doesn't just work hard, she works smart. Her discipline isn't about running herself into the ground. It's about consistency, efficiency, and continuous improvement. She told me, with a laugh that could light up a room, I'm not trying to be superwoman. I'm just trying to be a better version of myself every day. Some days that means nailing a presentation to investors. Other days it's just managing to keep my hard hat on straight. This approach to discipline is revolutionary in its simplicity. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Ingrid's work ethic isn't just about putting in long hours. It's about maximizing every minute, about being fully present and engaged in whatever task is at hand. She shared her technique for what she calls power hours, periods of intense, focused work with zero distractions. I turn off my phone, close my email, and set a timer for 60 minutes, she explained. During that time, I work on one task and one task only. It's amazing how much you can accomplish when you're not constantly switching gears.
But Ingrid's discipline extends beyond her work hours. She's a firm believer in continuous learning and staying ahead of the curve in an industry that's constantly evolving. She dedicates time each week to reading industry publications, attending webinars, and even taking courses in fields that seem unrelated to construction. You never know where the next big idea will come from, she said. Some of my most innovative solutions have come from concepts I've borrowed from completely different industries. This commitment to growth and learning isn't just about accumulating knowledge. It's about staying adaptable, about being ready to pivot when the market shifts, about seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. Ingrid's story is a masterclass in resilience, but it's also a stark reminder of the challenges that still exist in male dominated industries. She didn't sugarcoat the reality of being often the only woman and frequently the only person of color in high level meetings. The sideways glances, the doubts, the need to constantly prove herself, it's a burden that would crush many. But here's where Ingrid's story takes an inspiring turn. Instead of letting these challenges embitter her, she used them as fuel. Every doubter became a reason to work harder. Every setback became a setup for a comeback. She didn't just break through the glass ceiling, she shattered it and used the shards to build a mosaic of success. One particularly powerful anecdote she shared was about a time when a client openly questioned her capability to handle a large scale project. Instead of getting defensive or backing down, Ingrid calmly laid out her qualifications, her track record, and her vision for the project. By the end of the meeting, not only had she secured the contract, but she'd also gained a vocal advocate in that once skeptical client. This story illustrates a crucial point. Success in the face of adversity isn't just about individual achievement. It's about changing perceptions, opening doors, and paving the way for others. Ingrid's not just building structures, she's building a legacy. But let's be real for a moment. All this talk of never giving up, praying hard, and working with discipline might sound great in theory, but how does it translate to the daily grind? Ingrid had some practical advice that's as solid as reinforced concrete. First, she emphasized the importance of building a support network. In an industry where allies can be few and far between, Ingrid stressed the need to actively seek out mentors, peers, and even younger professionals who can offer fresh perspectives. She's a firm believer in the power of community, saying success isn't a solo sport. We rise by lifting others. This approach to networking and community building is refreshing in its authenticity. It's not about collecting business cards or racking up LinkedIn connections. It's about fostering genuine relationships that can weather the storms of professional challenges. Ingrid also talked about the importance of continuous learning. In an industry that's constantly evolving with new technologies, regulations, and best practices emerging all the time, stagnation is not an option. She shared how she dedicates time each week to reading industry publications, attending webinars, and even taking courses to stay ahead of the curve. But here's the twist. Ingrid doesn't just learn about construction, she makes a point of studying leadership, psychology, and even fields that seem unrelated to her work. Why? Because she believes that true innovation comes from cross pollination of ideas. You never know when knowledge from one area will give you a unique solution in another, she said with a wink. This commitment to lifelong learning isn't just about accumulating knowledge, it's about staying adaptable and resilient in the face of change. It's a mindset that turns challenges into opportunities for growth. Now, let's talk about failure. Yes, failure, because if you think Ingrid's journey has been a straight line to success, you couldn't be more wrong. She's had her fair share of setbacks, mistakes, and outright failures, but it's her approach to these stumbling blocks that sets her apart. Ingrid shared a philosophy that turned my understanding of failure on its head. Failure isn't the opposite of success, she said, leaning in as if sharing a secret. It's a crucial part of success. Every time I've failed, I've learned something that propelled me further than any easy win ever could. She recounted a project early in her career that went spectacularly wrong. Cost overruns, missed deadlines, unhappy clients. It was a perfect storm of disaster. Many in her position would have seen this as a career ender, but Ingrid, she saw it as a gold mine of lessons. She dissected every aspect of that failed project. What went wrong? Why? How could it have been prevented?
This postmortem wasn't about assigning blame, it was about extracting wisdom. And the lessons she learned from that single failure informed her approach to project management for years to come, contributing significantly to her later successes. This attitude towards failure is revolutionary. It's not about being fearless, it's about being fear informed. It's about acknowledging the risk of failure, but moving forward anyway, armed with the knowledge that even if you fall, you'll learn how to fly. But Ingrid's wisdom doesn't stop at professional development. She's a strong advocate for holistic success, the kind that doesn't sacrifice personal well being at the altar of professional achievement. In an industry known for its high stress environments and long hours, Ingrid's approach to work life balance is both refreshing and essential. You can't pour from an empty cup, she said, her voice filled with conviction. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary for sustained success. She shared her own struggles with burnout early in her career and how it taught her the importance of setting boundaries and prioritizing self care. Ingrid's self care routine isn't about expensive spa days or exotic retreats, though she's not opposed to those. It's about small, consistent actions that recharge her batteries: daily meditation, regular exercise, and time set aside for family and hobbies. These aren't luxuries in Ingrid's book, they're non negotiables. This approach to balance isn't just about feeling good, it's about performing better. Ingrid firmly believes that her success is directly tied to her ability to show up as her best self day after day. And that's only possible when she's taking care of her physical, mental, and emotional health. Now let's circle back to one of the core themes of Ingrid's philosophy: the power of representation. As a woman of color in a leadership position in the construction industry, Ingrid is acutely aware of the impact her success can have on others. But she doesn't just revel in being a role model. She actively works to create opportunities for others. Ingrid has implemented mentorship programs within her company, focusing particularly on supporting women and minorities in the industry. She's a frequent speaker at schools and colleges, inspiring the next generation to consider careers in construction and engineering. Her message is clear: if I can do it, so can you. And I'm here to help you along the way. This commitment to lifting others as she climbs is perhaps one of the most inspiring aspects of Ingrid's story. It's a reminder that true success isn't just about personal achievement, it's about creating a legacy that extends beyond ourselves. As our conversation drew to a close, I asked Ingrid what message she would want to leave with anyone facing seemingly insurmountable challenges. Her response was both simple and profound. Remember why you started. On the days when giving up seems like the only option, reconnect with your initial passion, your driving purpose. Let that be your North Star. Now, as we wrap up this talk, I want you to take a moment and reflect. What mountains are you facing in your own life or career? What dreams have you put on hold because they seem too difficult, too unlikely? I challenge you to channel your inner Ingrid. Imagine facing those challenges with unwavering determination, with a spirit fortified by reflection or meditation, with a work ethic that doesn't know the meaning of quit. Imagine the impact you could have, not just on your own life, but on the lives of others who will be inspired by your journey. Remember, success isn't about never falling. It's about getting up one more time than you fall. It's about turning obstacles into opportunities, doubters into motivators, and failures into stepping stones. So here's your call to action. Take Ingrid's 3 pillars and apply them to your life starting today. Never give up on your dreams, no matter how impossible they seem. Find your own way to pray hard, to center yourself, to find clarity in chaos. Work with discipline, not just hard, but smart. But don't stop there. Look around you. Who can you lift up? Whose dreams can you champion? Remember, we rise by lifting others. Be the Ingrid in someone else's story. The construction industry didn't change overnight to become more inclusive. It changed because of people like Ingrid Boney, who refused to accept the status quo, who pushed boundaries, and who persevered in the face of adversity. Your field, your community, your world is waiting for you to do the same. As Ingrid would say, the blueprint for success is already within you. You just need the courage to follow it, the faith to believe in it, and the discipline to build it one day at a time. So go out there, face your construction sites of life, build something amazing, break barriers, shatter ceilings. And remember, every time you rise, you're not just elevating yourself, you're lifting the hopes and dreams of countless others who are watching and waiting for proof that they too can succeed. The world is waiting for your unique contribution. It's time to grab your hard hat,
roll up your sleeves, and start building the future you want to see. Are you ready? Because the construction site of your dreams is waiting and there's work to be done. Let's get building.